Hey guys, Multi here. Today we talk about Hearthstone and especially about the new expansion that is dropping tomorrow. So it's a pretty interesting time. What I like about the first Hearthstone expansion of every year is that we have a big rotation coming. As you can see here in the collection, it's dropping out Sunken City, Castle Nafria, Path of Arctas, and Lich King, and we only get one back with Whizbangs Workshop. That means we have a limited amount of cards available. There is also not that much power creep usually in the first expansion. That's yeah, it will become more and more when the other expansions follow during the year and mini sets and everything. So for me, it's always pretty interesting. The first expansion of every year. I had a little break the last few months. I was not playing a lot of Hearthstone, but I definitely want to give it a try, and I hope really I'm getting back into it a lot. What is very important at the first few days of a new expansion is which decks, especially now that we have so many decks expansions rotating out, which decks are still playable with maybe just a few additions or whatever. So this is what we're talking about today. I will present you 3 very good decks, in my opinion 3 very good decks for the first few days of the expansion. Maybe one of them is coming out on top, the others I don't know. At the end of the day, I just want to show you 3 decks. 2 of them are cheap or kind of cheap, one of them is very expensive, talking about Dust. So depending on how many cards you have from the last expansions, maybe you can also make a decision out of that, because what I would not recommend is in the first 1, 2, 3 days of a new expansion to create a deck that you are unsure for 8,000, 9,000, 10,000 Dust if you don't have cards that bring it down to just maybe 2,000 or 3,000, 4,000 Dust to create a complete deck, and then you maybe miscalculate it. You don't like to play it, or maybe it's just not that good, so that would be kind of bad. We are going here on Vicious Syndicate. They present you, I think it's from today, the post, they present you 40 decks in total. I only will talk about 3 of them because I like them. I'm not sure if I like them the most, but these are the ones that I will concentrate on the first few days. Always a very good site, Vicious Syndicate. They have an awesome podcast about Hearthstone. So if you don't know them, I guess you know them, but if you don't know them, definitely give them a look. Definitely look up their podcast. It's just good stuff at the end of the day. So first thing we have here is Horsemen Rainbow Deathknight. Which is in general right now already a pretty good deck. The benefit about this deck is it only loses a few cards, which are not that strong, and we get some new additions which can make the deck maybe even stronger. The only little thing that the deck could be struggling with is the corpse generation. Sure, we have the corpse farm, we bring back the body bagger, stuff like this. But it could be happening that we have the Corpse Bride. But in general, corpse generation could be a problem. The next problem about this deck, what I have is, it costs you 13,000 Dust. Depending on how much of the legendaries and epic cards you already have, it could be a pretty expensive deck for you. If you already were playing DK and you like to play it, I would really recommend you go forward with it. The playstyle is not really changing. It will be, in my opinion, it will be definitely a strong deck. So nothing wrong about it, especially the first few days, and then you will see how the meta settles down. But definitely, if you like playing DK already, or if you were thinking about it, if you have already some of those cards that make the deck maybe expensive, then it's a big recommendation to give this deck a shot. Is very good in my opinion. Then next one, we have the boat Pirate Rogue. I love to play Rogue, so I needed to bring a Rogue deck in. Usually my most favorite classes are Rogue and Druid, I would say. Druid is a hard topic. I don't think it will be good at the start, but maybe I'm wrong. This Boomkin thing can look strong, but you never know. I definitely wanted to show you today a rogue deck, especially with one of my most favorite cards in Hearthstone at all time. We talk here about Leroy Jenkins. We have it back. We all know what is possible with a Leroy Jenkins, especially if you prep it with Shadow Step and all these other things that can go crazy. Very other benefit about this deck, I think if you are a rogue player, it could be kind of easy to play. Usually rogue decks have some... Rogue decks can be hard to play from time to time. I mean, when we talk about a card game, I know it's a little bit strange to say it like that, but maybe if you're a Hearthstone player, you know what I mean. But I think this deck will be more kind of easy to play, but still will give you the rogue feeling of drawing cards, doing crazy things, doing combos and stuff like this. And the other good thing, we only talk about 6,240 dust. As far as I know, this is counting the dust just in a way it is, but you already should have Leroy Jenkins. As far as I know, all the basic cards are included, and it rotates to the, how is it called, basic cards? I mean standard, but I don't know. You know what I mean, I guess. So this is a very big recommendation from my personal point of view. Toy Boat is one of the most popular cards when people talk about the new expansion at the moment. Toy Boat, 2 mana, 2/3. After you summon a pirate, draw a card, which just sounds ridiculous nice for playing rogue. Or what do you think? For me, just sounds epic. We have the Sonya, we have the Leroy Jenkins, so I really think that could be a fun deck. Will it be strong? I mean, strong is always a little bit, also depending on which rank do you play. I think it can be a strong deck, but it's very hard to predict how strong it would be later on. Pirate Rogue has a history of struggle a little bit, so we will see if it really works out to be a good deck, but I think it can be fun, and I will definitely give it a try. Next one is the cheapest one, and I guess many people hate it, many people love it. It's the Odyn Warrior deck, Odyn Control Warrior deck. It is super cheap with just 4,500 dust, so depending on how much Hearthstone you play, especially maybe the last few months, you should definitely be able to create a deck. It is a deck that is already pretty strong right now, so many people know it already. We have some new additions to like the safety goggles that can activate or bring up Sanitize in a very good way pretty early on, because of the safety goggles is cost 0 mana if you don't have any armor at that moment. Then you gain 6 armor together with Sanitize. Pretty strong. We also have the Fury War Axe back. I think it could be strong, yeah, definitely. It's also what Wishes and Zeko said about it. Can be pretty strong, definitely. In general, if you like Control, if you like Warrior, this will be a strong deck. I think there's no doubt. It's just a little bit how will the meta develop at the end of the day. So I think you will have a good time with Control Warrior, especially the first few days, and then we will see how the meta develops completely. So for that dust, especially for that amount of dust, which is very cheap to have a control deck. Usually I have to say control late game decks are many times pretty expensive, like 10,000, 12,000 dust, and that's here exactly not the case. It is a pretty cheap deck. So one of these 3 decks, I will put the codes for the decks into the video description. I would definitely recommend you playing one of these decks. If you only go for as cheap as possible, I would go for the Warrior. If you like the Pirate Rogue style, go for Pirate. If you already were playing DK, I would go for that. So maybe you have a choice for everything. Cheap and newcomer, go for the Warrior deck. You like that Rogue Pirate playstyle, go for Rogue. It's the 6,000, what was it, 6,240 dust. And if you already were playing DK, you like that massive rainbow DK stuff, go for it. It's still a pretty awesome deck. That's it for today, guys. Have fun with the new expansion and good luck.